Hi friends, today we are going to talk about nutrition. You might find yourself asking, why are we talking about nutrition? I thought this was a fitness program. Yes, it is. And if you want to see results on your fitness journey, if you want to have more energy, if you want to get stronger, if you want to build muscle, if you want to get toned and sculpted, you need to pay attention to your nutrition. And so we're going to talk about three things as it relates to nutrition. The concept is food as fuel for your body, what I call 80-20 eating. We're going to talk a little bit about macros. And at the end, I'll just encourage you on some next steps that you can take as it relates to your nutrition. So the concept of food as fuel for your body is something that I came up with a few years ago when I started to notice that my clients really kind of struggled with viewing food as either good or bad. And what happened was, as they viewed food in that way, it kind of led to some all or nothing thinking. And as you know, I'm not a fan of all or nothing thinking. And so what I did is I started to compare the human body to a machine, because really it is. It's a very efficient, advanced machine. And the food that we eat is what fuels that machine and helps it to run properly. And so if I'm eating food that maybe isn't as efficient, some fast food, foods that are really, really high in sugar, things like that, my machine, my body isn't going to operate as efficiently. Whereas if I fuel my body, my machine, with food that is efficient, fruits, vegetables, lean proteins, grains, nuts, things like that, my machine will run efficiently. And so the goal is, let's just look at this a little bit more objectively. And as we're looking at it a little bit more objectively, let's adopt what I call the 80-20 rule, where 80% of the time I am consuming efficient, effective fuel, which gives me the freedom then that 20% of the time I can enjoy some foods that maybe aren't quite as efficient or aren't quite as effective. Discipline, choosing what I want the most over what I want right now, equals freedom. When I am disciplined, choosing what I want the most with my eating 80% of the time, I'm not so worried if I'm at a birthday party and I want to eat that piece of cake. Because 80% of the time, I've fueled my body very efficiently and effectively, and it's operating well and it's feeling good. So then it begs the question, well, what is efficient fuel and what's less efficient fuel? And so that's where we're going to start talking about macros. So macros, or macronutrients, refers to carbohydrates. Carbs are good, your body needs them, it gives you energy. Fats and protein. Typically, your body needs about 40 to 50% of your caloric intake to come from carbohydrates. So yes, that is pasta and bread. It's also fruits and vegetables, okay? It needs about 30% of your fat to be a part of your caloric intake. So 30% of your caloric intake should come from fat. And then about 20 to 30% of your caloric intake needs to come from protein, from things such as eggs, meats, nuts, and the such. So now, here's the thing. Let's say I want a cookie. A cookie does have carbohydrates in it. So does an apple. The carbohydrates that are in the apple are going to fuel my body more efficiently and more effectively than the carbohydrates that are in the cookie. Fat. There is fat in a donut, and gosh, they're delicious. There's also fat in avocados. The fat that comes from an avocado is going to fuel my body more efficiently and effectively than the fat that comes from a donut. And the same goes with protein. So, what do you do with all of this information? What are some next steps that you can take? Okay. The first step that I would encourage you to take is just to challenge your lens of how you view food. Do you view it as good or bad? Do you view it as something that if you eat food that maybe isn't great for you, that you kind of like have to restrict and then punish yourself? Do you view food as something that brings you comfort and happiness? Just start to develop some awareness around what is your lens and your mindset towards food. And let's work towards making it objective, which is that it's fuel for your body. Okay, so step one would be to develop some awareness. Step two, develop awareness. Start to pay attention to what you're eating. So whether that's you just taking a mental intake, whether you start writing it down on a piece of paper, or whether you utilize an app such as MyFitnessPal or something similar to that to start to track and pay attention to your food. Develop some awareness. Step 3, choose one thing that you either want to incorporate into your nutrition diet or remove from. So for example, maybe you're a person that has like 2 really yummy, delicious foo-foo coffees every day. And so maybe your one step that you could take just to start would be, okay, I'm gonna cut that back to 1 foo-foo coffee a day. Or maybe you're a person that generally is staying away from fuel that's less efficient, but maybe you're not getting enough protein. And so maybe the one step that you're gonna take is, I'm gonna try and incorporate more protein into my diet. So I'm going to incorporate a protein into my lunch every day. The point is, you can do it, you're capable of it. Identify that next step, make a plan to take that step, and then trust the process as you move along in the journey. Food is fuel, it's good for your body. 80% of the time, you can be disciplined so that 20% of the time, you can enjoy those maybe not as healthy, fun things to eat. And macros matter, your body needs them. Either way, I am confident in your ability to implement these changes. I'm here if you need me, and together we will keep moving forward as we ignite your fitness and wellness journey.